I don't make good decisions anymore.
How long ago was your car wreck?
Uh, about 4 years, something like
4 years
that.
ago.
Yeah, and things have steadily.
So what happened? What was the car wreck? Were you in a car?
I
Was
was
it
in
a,
a car. I was by myself, and I ran off the road. I fell asleep.
you fell asleep?
Yeah, I fell asleep. It was during the day, I fell asleep, and I remember everything up to that point, and I remember leaving the where I was at, the facility I was at, and I was in a hospital gown, wheelchair, and I'm on the interstate trying to catch a ride. Thankfully, one of the nurses, a guy from the place that I was at, he stopped and picked me up, carried me back. I put on my clothes. He carried me home.
Have you been homeless for 4 years?
No, no, no. I lived it. I could go back and do the same thing, but it's so expensive. I go hungry, 5 to 10 days of the month. And like I said, I don't make the best decisions right, and my money, I don't make much money, but I don't know. I just don't do the right things. I don't do drugs or anything like that, but I just don't, I can't process things the way I used to.
Do you have anybody to help you?
Everyone's dead. My brother died in the coal mines when he was 40. My sister died at my feet. She had a massive, what do you call it? She bled out in her brain. But me and my mom and her were standing there talking. She just fell to the floor and died. I took care of my dad, which he was an abuser, when I was a kid. As a matter of fact, all this, I told him that I was hurting real bad. He said, if you come up with the $10 for the, I've never told anybody this. It's just weird. He said, if you come up with a copay, he had really good insurance work for the government. He told me if I came up with the $10, I could go to the specialist. 4 years later, my mom rushed me to the hospital because I couldn't walk. It just was strange, He said I had growing pains, so we're not going to spend money on something, I know about.
And how old are you?
62.
62. No kids?
No. I knew early on that if I couldn't take care of myself to a certain degree, I'm not going to put that on a kid.
So how do you survive out here in the streets?
Very carefully. I don't expect anything. I help other people more than, you know, and that helps me process things. I would rather give someone, if I got something to eat, if somebody comes up and they're hungry, they can have it. And I'm not saying I'm Mr. Goody 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 or nothing like that because I'm here, but I help people more than myself.
And why do you think you do that? If you need the help.
I was raised that way.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. Whatever that means, to whatever context you can put it in. I'm a Christian, and I try to do things that, follow that line.
What have you experienced down here being homeless?
Watching someone murdered, you talking about like that?
Anything good or bad?
Well, lady across the street, we were sitting over here. They were arguing. A guy started stabbing her. She ran. She died over here. Never seen anything like. I've seen dead people before, car wrecks and things like that. But watching someone being murdered it's really, upsetting. It stays with you.
What happened?
They were arguing. They were just
Just an
arguing.
argument?
Yeah, and we were sitting there, and it raised our. We paid attention to it. And then all of a sudden, he pulls out a knife and he stabs her. She runs off, and she died over here.
Oh, wow. So when you're out here, you have to be really careful.
Well, if you're too careful, it works against you.
How so?
Well, paranoid. You can't be too concerned or too paranoid because if you are, it almost seems like it draws that kind of, whatever to you.
Yeah.
So whatever happens to me happens to me.
So what are you looking for? If you're here, you're homeless, and you're not trying to go back to where you're from. Are you trying to find work so that you can afford a place? Or
I can't
what is it that
work.
you're trying to do?
Well, to begin with, I can't work. I could, I guess, but the particular job that I would do or whatever is not available. You know what I mean? And I can't labor, so and looking for. I guess I'm looking for somewhere to go that I don't have to do this or be in this situation.
So what's the plan?
Really, there's no plan. It's hard to make plans out here. You know, it's really hard to try to be concerned about this or that. It's really hard to, and that almost works against you. I'm ready to get somewhere, have something, but the harder you drive to go towards that, it seems like the worse things, the worse it becomes. But yeah, I would love to get an apartment or something I can afford, whatever.
Yeah.
But it would take my whole check to get somewhere, and then there's nothing for nothing, for everything else. Because I actually I try to help, whenever I can, to the point of, messing myself up.
Yeah, I noticed that when I went over there to give you water, you said y'all probably won't drink it. I'll give it to somebody who needs it more.
Well, I take things, from people, and I usually 99% of the time I give it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because somebody else needs it more than you.
Well, there's always somebody that needs it more. Everything, everything you can get, they're just not there at the time.
Have you ever been inside the shelters?
Sure.
What do you think about them?
It's cool, and it's better than sleeping on the ground. But basically, all the places like Camilla's, you're on the ground, but you have a mat. But it's cool, so it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it, but it could be better, but it could be worse.
Yeah, I have mixed, or I've heard mixed stories about the shelter. Some
Yeah,
say that it's terrible. Some say that it's great because you're not out here. You got some AC. You got a place to sleep.
and everything could be terrible. Everything could be what you don't like, this and that. You have to make, you have to make do with whatever it is to make it, okay. It's everything could be bad or everything could be good. You know what I mean? I know it sounds confusing, but
That's what you make of it. That's what it
it's
is.
exactly right.
Even in this situation in the streets.
Everything in life, is what you make it.
Yeah.
And I learned that too late. I was always, I want more, I want more, I want more. And the women, they wanted more. I was married twice. They wanted more, and they got everything I had. The first one got $750,000 worth of land and house, and because I would have chewed my arm off. You know what I mean? To get out of it.
Mhm.
The second one wasn't as bad, but same thing. I just wanted out of it so bad. I wanted what I wanted, and to get it, I had to do without, but that's fine. I'm doing without now, and I could get what I wanted, but it doesn't mean nothing.
Looking back now at in life, do you have any regrets? Things that you maybe could have done that you didn't, or the other way around?
I regret not being more forceful in the things that were happening to me. The things I let happen, like the surgeries and all that. I should have been more aggressive. Well, my dad, and I sat back because I respect. He had a hard life, and I felt bad. I saw pictures of him when he was a kid, and it looked like the Holocaust. He was so skinny, and I from that point on, I just felt so bad, and I respected him and my mom, and I loved them, regardless. But my dad, he was a hard man. Yeah, and he beat us pretty aggressively. He never used a belt or anything. It was always a hand.
Yeah. Out of discipline or of rage?
Sometimes he'd just be in a bad mood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he would tell us, this is gonna be a bad one. So we were prepared, 24 hours a day.
Is he still alive?
My dad, no, like I said, the last 7 or 8 years of his life, I took care of him and my mom, and he passed on. And I never did anything. I always thought about, I can do this and I can do that, but I never did anything. I just helped. That's all I did. Gave him whatever he needed, helped him do whatever he needed to do, took him places. I just can't. I'm not that kind of person, where if somebody does something, I'm going to get you back or whatever. I'm just not that kind of person.
Are you hopeful that you're able to get out of the situation?
Hope. It's really not. It's not something that you hold on to out here. You don't hope for things. You just wait. You wait, and if you see something that might be good, you sort of gravitate toward it. But hope, mm, it's taken away real early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Need, when you need something, that's even worse because you need it, you know, and that's almost impossible.
Uh, Is that a good way to look at things? That hope gets taken away real quickly.
It's not really something that's good that you can look at and say that's good, blah blah blah, this, that, or the other. It's just points of fact.
Yeah.
These things are what they are, and if you don't look at them in that particular way, it gets very irritating, and it takes something away from you.
So in your mind, because I've talked to a lot of people who are down because of this situation. Some are down, and some see this in a positive light. Like this is a spot in my life where I can learn and then grow out of it. Which side do you fall on?
Not that one. It's just I'm in this situation. I put myself in this situation. I have no one to blame but myself. Whatever happens, I have to look back and say, try not to do that again. And just it is a learning situation, but not in that manner. It's totally different. It's you have to endure what you have to endure. There's no around ways around it. If that makes any sense.
No, I understand. And you seem like a tough man. So, well, I guess what I'm asking is, does this situation break you?
No,
Has it broken you?
no, absolutely not. It would take me mentally to fold up and give up. And that's just something that it's impossible to do. It's not like I'm going to have a nervous breakdown and have one. You got to go around it. You got to think around it, or you know what I'm saying. It's something you can't dwell on.
Yeah.
If you do, man, you're messed up. And a lot of people out here, that's what messes them up. They dwell on things. They think about things too much, and that's something you can't do.
So that mental toughness, do you think that it has something to do with your childhood? Maybe the fact that your dad was so hard on you, it made
I'm
you
sure
mentally
it
tough.
does. I can think around things. I can look at it for what it really is and make it okay. Not really okay, but something bearable.
Yeah.
You have to make things bearable. If you don't, you're gonna go nuts or whatever. And I'm not ready for that one.
Did you go to school?
Yeah,
College?
I went for a little while. I mean, I'm not stupid,
Mm.
and I'm pretty literal. As far as things go, I can't. The thing that bothers me the worst is I can't spell the words like they are, that bothers me. And they're probably spelled right a lot of the time, but I think about it too much.
Mm. And that has something to do with the accident, you think?
Oh yeah, oh no doubt about it.
Well, when I ask you if you went to college, I don't. Your response was, "I'm not stupid." I don't think that going to college makes you a smart
No,
person.
no, 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 no. And I don't know why I said that. But sometimes you get put because of the situation you're in. You get put into that particular bracket, and that ain't it. You know, and I don't know. It's a shame when you go to the hospital. I've been to Jackson 3 or 4 times because that pain gets more bearable than I can handle. It's all there, always with me. But they take an X-ray of my head, and boom, I'm outside. It's weird. I really I've yet to understand that. But I would dearly love to get something every once in a while to take this edge off. And because of the situation and what I'm surrounded by, they will not do it. Like a pain pill.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to get a pain pill in 50 years, maybe once or twice. I've gotten something, but it always turns into something else. I went to a pain clinic one time. The doctor overprescribed. I mean, just give me left and right all this stuff. And I told him, I said, please back me off, because you have to have a percentage in your system. whenever they call you to take a drug test or you get booted. I told him, I challenged him. I said, look, man, I bet you can't take what you prescribed me and get to work. And I'm having to go, with all that stuff in me, I'm having to go an hour and a half driving.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's not made for somebody in my situation. Those things aren't. They're for real people. I'm not a real person. I mean, really, when it all comes down to it, I'm not a real human being. I'm over here.
Can you explain that?
I'm not really looked at in the real world as a real person. I'm over here. I'm homeless and I'm indigent. I'm this and I'm that. So that puts me in a different bracket altogether. And it's really hard to explain. I can see it in my head, but I just a lot of times I don't feel like a human. Strictly a human being. I do not feel that way, and I just take things as it goes. I don't expect nothing.
Does it bother you to think that people think less of you because you're homeless?
Absolutely not.
No.
Not even a minute. I could care less about that, and that messes me up sometimes.
What does?
Not letting that bother me, because I think that I'm expected to feel a certain way and think a certain way, but when somebody sees that you're not, it doesn't bother you to that point. I really don't know what it is, but they don't want to help you because it doesn't look like I need help. I've never been able to put my finger on that one, really, because people overlook me all the time because, and I haven't figured that one out yet. I really haven't, and it bothers me. Not,
But it's good. It's a good thing. If you don't care about what people think about you, I have a feeling that if you care too much about what people think, that puts
oh, it's
a
strange,
stop to
stressful. It's
who
very
you are.
stressful because it's a constant thing. Because you're always going to be that, no matter what. You're going to be that. I'm not going to let it bother me, and that helps me.
Yeah, I'm sure that it does.
I'm here. I mean, I thought, suicide, and I could never do anything like that, because I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
I believe in God. I'm God's. I can't take my own life, and I guess I came down here ready to die. Thinking that if I stressed my situation as much as I could, that it would kill me. Because I mean, the pain that I'm in, it's my God. I wouldn't wish this on nobody. It's torture. It really is torture. They did experimental things on me. The first thing they did was broke my legs. When I was a kid, my legs grew crooked because I grew so fast. They broke my leg and reset them. Then they cut everything and pulled it over and stapled it to the bone. Then they drilled holes in this bone and that bone and put me in a cast, and it grew together. It was one bone. No rehab. I had to just be walking along, and all of a sudden it break loose, and I couldn't even imagine what it looked like inside. But it was. They did a lot of experimental surgery on me because they had nothing, for that particular problem.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's probably things named after me. You know what I mean? But it's weird that I let them do it. That bothers me more than anything. I think that I let them
Well, you were a child.
experiment. Well, it's between the ages of 15 and 21, so I should have, thought more about it. But it held me back on what do you call it? I have a problem with things. Well, my mentality didn't develop because of it. What's right, what's wrong, and this and that. But I've never been an evil, like breaking the law, things like that, or hurting someone. I've always been the other way. I try to go, away from that, 100%. I think the police down here, they pretty much know that.
Say that one more time.
The police down here, they know who I am and know what I'm about, and they don't mess with me really, really bad.
Well, I hope you continue to be a good person.
Sir?
I hope you continue to be a good person.
Oh, there's nothing going to change that. I was hoping I'd go nuts by now, you know? I mean, seriously, not wishing, but thinking that I would wake up one morning and I'd just start talking to myself, you know, like a lot of these guys. Apparently, that's not in the works, you know. I was kind of hoping at one time, you know, that that would happen so I could be off somewhere and, you know, three hots in a cot. It's really hard to explain. It's hard. The whole thing is, but I can't let it bother me to that point. If I did, man, it'd be very stressful.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, Barry, thank you so much for your time, man.
That's no problem.
Appreciate it.
It's very interesting. You know, I was like, what is this? What's up?